And so that concludes the French side of the game turn. So we're going to advance the game turn over to the Allied side. And the first thing we're going to do in the sequence of play is we're going to pull a random event. So we're going to draw a random card out. And looking at that, we'll see the card we drew. There's two portions to it. There's a blue portion and a red portion. Blue portion is for the French. When they pull a card, they're going to look at that portion. Red half of it is for the Allies, and they're going to pull that when it's the Allied player turn. Well, according to this result, it says no effect, reshuffle the cards. So we're going to go ahead and just reshuffle the cards there, put it back inside the deck. If we were to draw another one, you could see what would happen on a future turn. It would be the French, and it would say Sacre Bleu. When one side's ahead in morale points, it immediately loses one morale point. So there's all kinds of neat little things inside the card deck that help to sometimes even off the balance of the game. Well, let's go ahead and finish this first turn here just for grins. Now, it looks like a lot of guys are pinned down. Third course pinned, first course pinned. First course still got maneuverability, and it might be worthwhile to do that. So we're just going to move into the woods, which forces him to stop. He also enters a Zoc, which forces him to stop. And the reserve corps is going to go 1, 2, 3 up the road and try to shore up the Allied flank. I'm going to zoom out here so you can see the big picture. That's the whole situation at present. There's no reinforcements this turn, but there would be next turn. If you look at the sequence of play, there's going to be French coming on next turn, and then during the night there will be some Prussians and Uxbridge's cavalry. So that is the end of the movement phase. Next we have to declare our comments, and they're pretty self-explanatory here. There's nothing really to say. It's going to be him against these two, and so forth up the line. And we'll go ahead and start here. Since French are lower in morale, it might be worthwhile to spend one here to see if we couldn't rout both of these guys and get an early lead. So the French are actually going to, or the Allies are rather, going to spend a morale. They're going to roll a die, and crap, they rolled a 1. Wow. So looking at the table, had they not spent the morale point, the Prussian unit would have routed. Instead, it's going to be a +1 column, and a die roll of 1 is attacker withdraws. So he's going to fall back 1, and the defender must advance. Since one of them is cavalry, one of them must advance, and it is probably a good idea to go ahead and advance this one here. That allows this one some maneuverability on the flank. Up here, whoops, you know what? Let's backtrack this because I forgot to do the reaction phase. We have cavalry engaged. Duh, hello. Okay, when cavalry are engaged with somebody, there's a reaction phase, as we saw on the sequence of play. See right here, after movement, there's enemy reaction. And we're just going to forget what that combat result was earlier. Here's what can happen. The First Corps could simply back up 1 hex, or if he was aggressive, he could countercharge. Countercharging might not be a bad idea. When you countercharge, though, what will happen is the attack strength is doubled. Now, in this case, he'd be a 2 versus 3. That would put him on the -1 column. Probably not a good idea. So, if he was really aggressive, he could countercharge. Otherwise, he could simply retreat 1 hex, and when he retreats, the attacker cannot advance. So, basically, First Corps is left standing there looking silly. And so we'll go ahead and now implement the combat result from earlier in the sequence. So that's the situation. Lastly, we'll do First Corps here against First Corps, and it's going to be 4 to 3 rather. So they're going to be on the +1 column, and even Steven with morale. So nobody's going to spend anything here. So it's +1 column. Die roll is a 5. 5 on the +1 column is a DW result, which means the defender must retreat. Now the attacker could advance, but if he does, he imperils himself. Okay, he doesn't have to unless he's cavalry, and he's not. But if he did, now you have a sticky situation because 4th Corps cavalry is free to maneuver. Now in the following turn, he could move up like so, and then this guy could move up like so. 1, 2, 3, and all kinds of ugliness could happen to the British First Corps. That being said, remember, when you're in a Zoc, I may not have explained this earlier, but when you are in an enemy Zoc, you must attack. So 4th Corps Cav would have to attack the reserve unit here. But that wouldn't be a small price to pay. So 4th Corps Cav could declare against the Reserve Corps here, and he could do so at any point during the combat phase. So once you've declared everything, you could actually resolve the attack on 1st Corps first, and then you could do your soak-off attack here on the Reserve Corps. So there's a lot of subtlety in the gameplay in Nappy 20. This here is pretty much a good flavor of the game. I'd like to arrange a live demonstration game so you can see the back and forth and the very difficult decisions that must be made. The random events add a lot of flavor for not a lot of weight at all in terms of rules. But the real elegance to the design is the morale track, spending your morale points. When do you spend those morale points? It's a very, very dangerous thing to get very low in your morale. After the first day of combat has occurred, if you're in a turn and there's been no combat either during the reaction phase or during your combat phase, if your enemy has more morale than you, or if you have less than 6 morale on the track, you can simply declare a lull after your movement's done, or after the turn's done, I should say, and increase your morale up a bit, up 1 step, I should say. So, you know, as the games go on, there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of bluff when it comes to are you going to spend your morale points to increase your strength for this attack? Are you going to try to bait your opponent to do it? There's a lot of interesting subtlety in the game, and every time I play it, I want to set up and play it again. It's that good of a game. With Fading Glory, you actually get 4 games in one package. You're going to get Borodino 20, I believe Smolensk 20, Salamanca 20, which is new, has not been released by Victory Point Games, so this is a totally brand new design. I've had the privilege of play testing it once. It's a fantastic game from the Peninsula War. And then, of course, you get the tried and true, probably the best of the entire lot. Waterloo 20 is one of the tightest contests in the entire set of them. I have a hard time picking a favorite, but Waterloo 20 is definitely one of them. Jena 20 is available from GMT Games via C3I Magazine. C3I printed an edition of Jena 20, and that also is a very, very good game. It's no slouch to this one. I haven't played a Nappy 20 game yet that I didn't like. So hopefully this demonstration video was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. And look for a live demonstration announcement of a live demonstration game on GMT's website very soon. Thank you, and have a great evening.